Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Steph. I'm super excited for today's video. It is my May monthly wrap-up. I have read, this is like my biggest monthly wrap-up that I have done, and I'm super excited to talk about all of the books. Just give you a little sneak peek. This is the ones that I own on paperback that I have read this month. I also have read a few on my phone that I'm excited to talk about as well. I just wanted to put a little disclaimer out there before I start. I think I read around 15 books this month, plus I'm going to be talking about 2 books that I read at the end of last month that weren't in my last wrap-up video. And I just wanted to say, if you read 1 book this month or you read 20 books this month, that is still amazing. You did not have to read as many as I did, or you could have read more than I did, and that is totally awesome. There's a lot of months that I only read maybe 5 or 6 books. Or you know, sometimes I read as many as I did this month, as 15, but everybody has a different pace of reading, and whether you read 1 or 12, that is super amazing. So just wanted to put that out there. Also wanted to say a huge thank you to all of the people that have subscribed to my channel recently. It's been super amazing how quickly we've been growing. Just a small channel, but I wanted to say thank you so much, because the last time I filmed a video, I was super close to 100 subscribers, and now I'm over 200, which is super awesome. And there's so many lovely comments and people liking the videos and just creating a discussion down below. So I really appreciate people leaving me recommendations and just commenting on what they thought about different things that I've discussed in my videos. So yeah, let's get right into this. I'm super excited. Okay, so the first 2 books I'm going to talk about are, like I said in the beginning, the books that I read at the end of April, and then we'll get into May. So the first book that I have here that I wanted to finish off from April is the Kiss Quotient. I'm actually just looking at the books in my little reading journal here. So I always do like a picture of the book I print off, and then I talk about it, and I write like a little synopsis on the book. If you guys are interested in hearing about my book journal, that could possibly be a video that I could talk about. So yeah, I gave this one 5 stars, and I thought it was pretty spicy. So it follows our main character who has autism, so it has autism representation, which is actually really amazing. I'm not sure if I said the author, that's Helen Huang. So yeah, it follows our main character, and she, don't ask me what the names are, because honestly I can't remember. If I have the book in front of me, I'll be able to tell you the main character's names, but I'm really good at remembering the book, just not what the characters' names were. I do believe the male main character in this book's name was Michael though. So you follow the main character, like I said, she has autism, and she's having her parents are kind of on her about like not being in a relationship. They're like, oh, we really want grandkids, all this kind of stuff. And then she goes to work, and her coworker is like always dating people, bringing people around the office, or seeing people in the office, and he kind of makes like a little remark towards her, like, oh, like, I never see you dating anybody, or blah blah blah. And so then that kind of prompts her to be like, hey, like, I really want to do something about this. And she has this thing with like, she has a hard time with like physical touch and a few other things. So she decides to hire a male escort. So this book has fake dating in it. So she gets this guy to pretend to be her boyfriend and just get her comfortable with like physical touch and kissing and going out with each other. And obviously it progresses from there, because it is a romance. I really enjoyed this book, especially how the male main character was super patient with her and was just so sweet towards her. And yeah, I really enjoyed that book. 5 stars. Okay, so the last book I'm going to talk about for April is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book here I gave 4 stars. I really did enjoy this book, but it wasn't one of those ones that was like, there was a few things I didn't like about the book, I guess, that I could talk about for the reason I gave it 4 stars. I really did enjoy it, and it follows our main characters, Olive and Ethan, and they are maid of honor and best man at a wedding. So what happens is, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows the plot of this book, but basically what happens is that these two characters do not eat from the buffet at the wedding, whereas everybody else does, and they all get food poisoning. And so the only two that are not sick are obviously Olive and Ethan. So the bride and groom were like, hey, you should take our honeymoon. It's already an like all-inclusive, ready to go. It's non-refundable. So they both take the wedding, but they both take the honeymoon together. But when they get there, they think, oh, we're just going to avoid each other because they're kind of like, it's kind of like an enemies to lovers. So they don't really get along, but then when they get there, they realize they have to do sort of like coupley things together. Okay, so a lot of the aspects of this book actually remind me of a movie that I've watched, Just Go With It, with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston in it. And when you read this book, you'll kind of get that vibe, with just a few things that happen. And so yeah, it turns into like fake dating, enemies to lovers. The one thing I just didn't love was I felt like there wasn't a whole lot of like the romance plot, like the building up to them like actually liking each other, was quite a ways through the book. And then you get like a little bit of their romance, and then obviously there's like a twist, like something happens and breaks them apart like every other romance. I just felt like the romance part just wasn't like, there wasn't a whole lot of it, and I think that's why I only gave it 4 stars. Okay, so the first book that I read for the month of May was, and I read some really good books this month. So the first book I read was Beach Read by Emily Henry. I bought these two quite a while ago, like a few months ago. They were on sale on Amazon, so I got Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation at the same time. Haven't read People We Meet on Vacation yet, but to get to this one, gave it 5 stars. I really liked this book. It follows Augustus and January, and January moves to this beach house, and I'm just kind of gonna give you the gist of it because I don't want to spoil anything. But she moves to this beach house, and Augustus lives next door to her, and they've kind of been like enemies since they were kids, and they are both writers, so they task each other to write a book in each other's genres. And going along with that, they take each other on sort of these romantic outings or dates, I guess, to teach each other about how to write each other's genre, and it's obviously follows from there. It's a super cute book. Yeah, rated 5 stars. Really loved that one. The next book I'm going to talk about is Confess by Colleen Hoover. I do not own this one in paperback. It's actually on its way from Amazon because I am a huge Go fan. She's my favorite author. So I gave it 5 stars and I really enjoyed it. Confess follows the two main characters. Like I said, can't remember their names, but the female main character moves back to town, and she's a hairdresser, and she's trying to get, basically she's kind of trying to get her life back together. And she's walking home one day and she sees this sign in the window at this art gallery, and it basically is looking to hire somebody for the front desk of the art gallery. And that's where she meets our male main character, who basically paints pictures based on people's confessions. And so he's like, I really need somebody short notice to run the desk for me for my opening of my art gallery. Will you do it? And things grow from there. There's a bunch of different things that happen that you just have to read to really appreciate, because I'm not giving any spoilers. But this one reminded me a lot of Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, and yeah, I really enjoyed that book. Okay, so the next book that I read is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, and this became my favorite Colleen Hoover book so far that I've read. I haven't read everything yet that she's written, but this one became my favorite. I loved this book. It follows our two main characters, Sydney and Ridge, And Sydney has just found out that her boyfriend has cheated on her, and I'm not spoiling anything because that's literally on the back of the book. So she finds out that her boyfriend has been cheating on her, and she's been with him for a while. So then she decides that she needs to move out. She ends up moving in. It's very complicated. Somehow she ends up moving in with Ridge, and she always sees Ridge playing his guitar on the balcony, and that's kind of how she knows him. But there's a lot more to the plot. Basically, she ends up moving into his apartment, and he has a few roommates, and she becomes one of them, and things go from there. There is so many really cool, amazing things that happen in this book. The romance between the two main characters, and if you know the things that happen in this book and the difficulties with the main characters, the romance is just so much more beautiful because of the way that they communicate with each other. I really, really enjoyed this book. 5 stars. Then, because I loved this one so much, I had to continue on with the series. So then I read Maybe Not by Colleen Hoover. That's the novella. It's super short. It's only like 120 pages, I think. This one follows Warren and Bridget, which are the other 2 roommates in the apartment with Ridge and Sydney. This goes hand in hand with this book because they're based in the same timelines. You get some like repeats of conversations and things that have happened in the first book, but you get them in Warren and Bridget's point of view. And this one's super cute. I'm not going to say too much about it because obviously you would read the first one first and then the second one, so it's kind of hard to explain this one other than it's in their point of view. And I just really loved this one, and when you get all of the information about Warren and Bridget in Maybe Someday, you are really excited to get to their book. Then I read Maybe Now, which I do not own on paperback, and that one also was another 5-star read for me, and I thought it was super cute and really enjoyable. You get more points of views in that book as well, but you also see Sydney and Ridge again and their point of views in this book again. I thought it was super cute. I loved the way that it kind of wrapped up the storyline. The first one, you don't just have to read the whole series. Like the first one you could read as a standalone, but I continued on with the series because I really enjoyed the first one. So yeah, they were all 5-star reads for me. So the next book that I read is Throttled by Lauren Asher. It's the first book in the Dirty Air series. This series is super popular. I only read the first 2 books, but I do want to continue on. It's just, I find it really hard when I'm reading them all back to back because I find it gets kind of repetitive, and I don't want to feel that way about the books, so I like to space them out. I did read the first 2 together. The first one was, like I said, Throttled by Lauren Asher. I gave that one 4 stars. Really did enjoy that book. Those books are all about F1 racing. They're super popular. Really enjoyed that one. But the second one, which I read, is Collided by Lauren Asher. That one there I gave 5 stars. I really did enjoy that one more than the first one. A lot of people say they enjoy the first one more, but I thought the second one was really, really great, and I felt like the romance aspect was just a little bit more there for me between those 2 characters. I liked the angst and the build up more in the second one, and also it had a lot to do with like the female main character was an artist, so I really enjoyed that part of it. So yeah, that one was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. The next book I read, I'm not sure how to explain it basically without spoiling it, and I don't own this book. It's called Credence by Penelope Douglas, and I gave this book 5 stars, but I feel like a lot of people didn't give this book 5 stars, and everybody has their own opinion. I just thought this book was so good, but like so messed up. If you've read this book, then you know what I mean. It's like a super taboo romance, and I just felt like the reason why this book gave me 5 stars is as I was reading things and things were getting like super intense, and like obviously this is a very spicy, steamy book, definitely 18 plus. I just was like, nothing is off the table at this point. Like, anything could happen. This book is just like, there's a lot of things that you don't suspect to happen, and it's kind of like you have to like drop what you think a normal romance is going to be about, because this book just like made some like super crazy turns. And I think that's why I gave 5 stars, because I just was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Like, I didn't think that was gonna happen. Like, how far is this going to go? I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say about it. You definitely should read it. Like I said, it's a very mature book, a very taboo romance, but nonetheless, I gave 5 stars. Then after that, I was like, I want to read something by Penelope Douglas again. And so then I picked up Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. And I actually gave this one 5 stars as well. And I like this one for more different ways. This is an age gap romance, and it follows our female main character who has this boyfriend who doesn't really treat her that great. And one night he is supposed to be picking her up from work, and he's super late like always. So she decides to go and sit in the movie theater and watch a movie until he can come pick her up. And when she's in the movie theater, she meets this older gentleman, and she kind of hangs out with him. She thinks he's like super attractive, and by the way that they're you know, acting towards each other, he also feels the same way. So when she's leaving the movie theater, they go their separate ways, and she's like, I have a boyfriend, like I can't be thinking this way. And then she gets on the phone with her boyfriend, and she's like, hey, where are you? You're supposed to be coming to pick me up. And the male main character, I guess he's the male main character, he overhears, and he's like, hey, that's my son that you're dating, I'll give you a ride home. And it's just like, obviously it's a romance between the dad and the dad's son's girlfriend. And basically how it progresses from there is that the boyfriend ends up losing the apartment for his girlfriend. So then they're like, we need a place to stay, and the dad's like, move in with me and you guys can save up money and then get your own place. So obviously now it's like forced proximity between the two of them, and their, you know, her relationship with her boyfriend is kind of on the rocks, but it's also very forbidden because like that's her boyfriend's dad. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this. And after you read so far into it, you're not seeing it as that anymore. You're not seeing it as like, this is so weird. I really did enjoy it. Like I said, 5 stars. Okay, so the next book that I read was actually in a recent haul, and that is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I understand why people love this book so much. It was 5 stars for me. I loved this book so much. I can't rave about it enough. I think a lot of people should pick this book up. Like, this is so cute. So it follows this girl that moves to a small town in Maine, and she meets this boy named Archer one day when she's leaving the grocery store, I think, and she drops a bunch of things out of her bag. He helps pick them up. She tries to say thank you to him, and he doesn't really speak to her, and she's like, what's up with this guy? So yeah, it follows them, and he's just basically an outcast. He doesn't speak, and you kind of find out why he's like that and why people treat him the way that they do in this small town. And obviously their romance progresses. I loved this book so much. Can't rate it like highly enough. This is like 10 out of 5 stars for me, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to discuss is, okay, so the next 2 books actually. Okay, so the next 2 books I read are part of a trilogy, the Summer I Turned Pretty series. And, okay, let me just get the ones. So I read The Summer I Turned Pretty a while ago, and I kind of stopped reading it because it's a very young adult romance, and I'm more into reading adult romance, but I really wanted to finish this because my best friend, shout out to Portia if you're watching this, she had said to me that this was her favorite and probably still is her favorite series. She read it when she was younger and she loved it. So I was like, you know what, I need to continue reading them. So I read It's Not Summer Without You and We Will Always Have Summer, which is the second and the third book in the trilogy, and I really enjoyed this series. The first one I gave 4 stars, the second one I gave 4 stars as well, and then the last one I gave 5 stars. It's super cute. Like I said, it's very young adult. Definitely I think I would have loved these books more and gave them a higher rating if I had read them in school when I was younger. But nonetheless, still really enjoyed it. It's a love triangle between 2 boys who are brothers, and the main character, Belly, who is one of their best friends since childhood, and you just see their relationship grow from there, and how she has feelings towards like both boys. Who will she end up with? It's also being turned into a TV series. So I'm filming this currently on June 1st. On June 17th, I believe it comes out on Amazon Prime. So I definitely wanted to finish the books before I watched the series. The book that I read is this one right here, which I was like, you know what, I want to get in a couple more books before the end of the month. And this one here was like a quick read. It's kind of short, and this is called The Upside of Falling by Alex Light. I gave this one 3 stars. I really did like this book, but I felt like it wasn't super memorable. And I think the main thing I liked about this was kind of like the aspect of like single parent families and divorce, and just like how that affects kids. And I think that's the main reason why I really did enjoy this book. But a lot of the plot line was kind of like young adult kind of vibes, and maybe that's also why I gave it only 3 stars. But it is a fake dating book, and we follow the 2 main characters, Becca and Brett. And Becca is kind of not super popular, sits in the class reading her book, kind of minding her own business, and Brett is really popular. I think he's on the football team. Yes, he's on the football team. And she's like, a lot of people are making fun of Becca and saying like, you know, she's not really in relationships. And Brett's family is like, you know, you're so focused on football, you should be in relationship, you should be experiencing all the things of high school. So one day Becca says that she actually does have a boyfriend, and Brett comes up to her in the hallway and kisses her and is like, hey, like, and because he overhears the conversation, so he pretends to be her boyfriend. It kind of goes from there, and I think it's super cute. Like I said, it wasn't super memorable, so yeah, gave that one 3 stars, but I would recommend it. I thought it was cute. The next book that I read, which was in a recent haul video, is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I gave this one 4 stars. A lot of people gave this 5 stars. I think when I read a romance, it really has to be based around like the romance aspect, and I feel like a lot of this book was based around other things that were happening in their lives. I felt like the beginning was a bit of a slow pace as well. Maybe that's why I didn't give it 5 stars, but I really did enjoy it. Okay, so this follows our main character Tiffy and male main character Leon, and Tiffy had just moved out of her boyfriend's, or ex-boyfriend I should say, apartment, and he basically kind of kicks her out really, and she's looking for a place to stay, but she doesn't have a whole lot of money. And so she is looking online and she sees this ad for a flat share, which Leon has posted, and basically he works at night, she works during the daytime, so they'll never see each other, which means they will also share a bed because it's only a 1-bedroom apartment. And so she agrees to it because it's cheap and she needs the money, she needs to save money. And so they move in together, but they never see each other, and they start like leaving little notes towards each other, and things kind of progress from there. It's a super cute romance. 4 stars. I just wish there was more of the romance aspect, like it was like really building up to it, but like when they actually got together it was like 75% or more of the book was already over. But I really did enjoy the book. The next book I'm going to talk about Okay, these two are super hyped up and I hauled them recently. They're a series, and that is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I gave this book 5 stars. It was quite spicy. I didn't think it was going to be that spicy. Really enjoyed this book. It follows our 2 main characters, Piper and Brendan. And Brendan is a fisherman in a small town. Piper gets herself in trouble and she lives in the city, and her dad or stepdad is like, we're going to send you away to the small town where your dad lived, and you are going to live in the small bar that he used to own, and basically just have like a small town life, live there for 3 months, see that you've, you know, learned your lesson, and then you can move back. Well, once she gets there, she meets this guy named Brendan. He's a fisherman, and things kind of happen between the 2 of them, and I think you should definitely read it. It's such a cute romance, and I loved the small town aspect. I loved the whole you know, popular, very uptight drama queen kind of girl, and very like small town easygoing kind of guy, and the spice in this was pretty good, I will say. So I gave that one 5 stars. Okay, right after that, I read the second book in this series, which is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I also gave this one 5 stars, but I actually enjoyed this one more than I did the first one. And I feel like the reason I say that is because I connected more with the main characters in this one. Like, they weren't, you know, our main character in this one is Fox and Hannah. And I felt like Hannah's the sister to Piper, and I feel like Hannah was more like laid back, and I think that's why I enjoyed her character more. I also felt like this one kind of was more of a build up to the romance, whereas this one I felt was like a little bit insta-lovey. If you read it, you kind of know what I mean. Like, I feel like the romance like kicked off from the start, and I really did like that, but I like that build up. I like that angst, and I felt like I got that more with Hook, Line, and Sinker. Actually, when I hauled these books, I had said that I heard that this one here was, that a lot of people were saying that this one wasn't as good as the first one. And then after that, I got a few comments on the video, and I also seen on like TikTok and things where people were recommending this book that they liked the second one more. That was the same for me. I really did enjoy this one more than the first one, but they both were 5 stars for me. Alrighty guys, so that is everything that I have read this month, and I think that was a total of 15 books plus the 2 that I read in the end of April. This was such a good month for me, quite a lot of 5-star reads, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Maybe this gave you a few recommendations to read for yourself, or you probably already read these books, because I am a little bit behind on a few of them. But thank you so much for watching, and leave me a comment down below which books you have read that I have talked about, or ones that you're looking to read soon that I've discussed. Or if you see a book, I see a few people doing this in the comments, if you see a book that I really enjoyed, that you also know a book that is similar to it that you think I would like, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye!